with Samir about in Energaia company.
Great.
I'm French, and my origin is Vietnamese, so I guess that you are French too, or you come from France? No?
I'm Romanian and Manu is Italian, but we lived in
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
before.
actually, we started the entire project in France, and then we moved from France because France was extremely expensive to do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I can understand. I can understand. So yeah, then maybe we should start then.
Yeah, I think we should start because I don't know if the other ones will join, and if yes, so it's better. Anyhow, I am broadcasting this video live so the others can follow it afterwards,
Okay.
It's perfect.
like the
It's good.
innovation. Okay. So, Mil, do you want to say a little bit on how you advanced this week?
Well, I don't know if we keep some news with Samil, but I'm trying to. We are developing frozen spirulina, and like in small portion of, let's say, 30 grams, and the all amount of the product will be 210 grams. And we just come to develop the process to produce it and to pack it essentially. I think that it can be it's a good idea actually to sell that products the spirulina and the frozen and not really powder, because as you should know, when you buy spirulina but fresh and frozen, you keep much more nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and protein than in powder, and it's also more convenient to use, like in smoothie and juice, because powders they have quite a strong taste of spirulina that people don't really like in general, or find it quite hard to consume. Whereas if you consume it fresh or frozen, you don't have this taste, and you have even a little bit much more nutrients. So it's really a better, let's say a good opportunity, I think, for the spirulina. In Europe, because I'm French, so I'm trying to expand that in Europe. And I don't know if you see Picard, this frozen distribution Picard. Well, I have already contacted them. They are really big, but because it's a new product, so they answer me. They just transfer my mail to the kind of marketing and research development, and they will contact me when they will, if they are interested or not. I hope that they will be interested. And I also contact a juice company, smoothie and juice bar actually, more precisely. Like, I don't know if you see the brand Zumo. It's quite a big. I didn't know also that in Paris, but apparently it looks like a big brand of smoothie bars in Europe. And they are internationally in France, Ireland, and UK. And they seem to be quite interesting. I have sent them just last week some information about our spirulina, and also the kind of concept that you can have with the frozen spirulina, because which is good with the frozen spirulina, that it can be an option. I mean, for me, it can be a good opportunity for the smoothie bar, because, for example, you order a smoothie, and then you can add like kind of energy boost option, green energy boost option with the spirulina, and the smoothie bars can really have a big markup if they can propose that as an option. At least it's an argue for me to try to sell them some frozen spirulina. I don't know, what do you think about that that kind of idea to sell that? But it seems like quite a good idea. It's like, for example, when you go in a McDonald's, you order a big size for 50 cents more. So in the smoothie bars, you don't order a big size, you just order a energy supplement boost with spirulina, and it's totally green and natural, so it's perfect. It's not like whey protein, completely chemical and not natural. With the spirulina, frozen spirulina, what is good, it's just natural. So it should work, in my opinion, but it can be cool if I can have some feedback about that idea or not.
Actually,
And
we talked about the idea of the smoothie supplement, and I think it's great. And now the challenge is actually to make them introduce
Yeah.
the smoothies.
yeah,
Did you advance actually for the certificates? Like, was there any advancement on this point?
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Let me answer that one. We have made some progress on that. We think Natureland certificate will satisfy the needs that we have for the German juice company that we have contacted, but we will know more in the next week or so. We're trying to decide between two different certifiers which one to use, either Natureland or Control Union. But we've made some progress on both. We have formal quotes from both of them, and it seems that the Natureland cert will be satisfactory for the German juice company. So we just will make a decision probably within this week. Also, one thing we've done since the last call is Jeremy, who was on. Manu, I think we're making progress on this disco soup idea. He's organizing it, and
Awesome.
we actually on Monday or Tuesday we will send him the thing Min was talking about. We have these. I think I copied you, Roxandra, on some pictures in a zip file. We will send him about 1 to 1.5 kilos of this. Some that he can show to people, and some he can use. At least 1 kilo he can use in the event. So we're just working with him now, or I sent him a mail today because we want to make sure, we contacted Federal Express, and we want to make sure that he confirms on his side the paperwork that's required, because the office here told us what documentation is required, so that it doesn't get stuck in customs in France when it arrives, since it's a food, right? Because then it will spoil and then it would be wasted. So as soon as he has a chance to contact the Federal Express office in France and confirm the documents, we'll prepare it. We'll send the shipment out within this week. It's actually ready to go on Monday, but most likely we'll send it Tuesday or Wednesday, which he said is fine. And then I think he will help us to try that event. Also, from a MVP kind of piloting perspective, we are also planning to use the same kind of frozen spirulina packet. We're planning to give maybe 10 or more of these packets to one of our kind of shops, the shops that sells our regular spirulina and our spirulina powder, and tell them to just give it out to some of the most consistent customers of the last 1 or 2 years, just for free as a bonus when they order, just to get their feedback on what they think of it and kind of test the market a little bit from here as well. So I think between those two events, we're making some progress with trying out this this type of product.
Fantastic.
Yeah, congrats. That's really a lot of things going on.
Yeah. So my next question is regarding the crowdfunding campaign, the advancements for the crowdfunding campaign, where you are, and then a plan. I think the best would be to discuss during this call, like the different rewards that you thought and the strategy of the crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah, I've put it on hold for the moment only because I want to make sure that within the next 2 weeks we're going to know if it works out with this German juice company, and if it does, we'll have to devote all of our time and efforts to scaling up production because their demand will be quite large, and we won't have enough time to develop the 2 or 3, finish developing one and mostly develop the second of the 3 products that we had offered. I think you saw in the preliminary version of the Kickstarter, right? So the 3 rewards there were our pasta, because it's non-perishable, energy bars, which are non-perishable, and then these frozen, or these pre-made drink packets of freeze-dried spirulina and fruits and herbs. And Min was actually working a lot on the fruit and nut bar, and he's identified a manufacturing facility here, but they're not available to work with us until January on that product, I believe. And so even in any case, to do those 2 rewards that we don't have fully developed yet, which is the fruit and nut bar and the drink packets, will take us some resources internally for R&D, and more importantly, it will take us quite a bit of spirulina to make those products if our crowdfunding campaign goes well. So we won't have enough spirulina to do that if we're satisfying the juice company's orders for a while, because everything we scale up will probably go to them. So I don't want to kick off the Kickstarter and then not be able to deliver, even though I know we have a year to do it. I want to at least feel comfortable or confident that we'll be able to execute. So I'm delaying it a little bit to see within the next 2 weeks how the juice company thing works out.
Can I like intervene? So I think it's good to have like the answer of the juice company. So 2 weeks, it's a good delay to take the decision. But as I also told you last time, you have like time. You can like start the campaign. It also takes like 45 days or 60 days, so about 2 months for the campaign to end, and you don't need to deliver like instantly. You can deliver in 3 months or 6 months. And in case you need the money, I think it's good to foresee already now, like to launch the campaign for January or February. So if you launch the campaign, for example, in January or February, then it will end in March, for example. And if it ends in March, you can deliver like, and it's still like honest until September or even later. You can always write like in the crowdfunding campaign when you're going to deliver. There are, as I told you, like campaigns that were successful where the products were delivered 1 year later. So it's like but the idea is you cannot wait until the last minute to launch your campaign, and it takes a lot of preparation before. So if you want to launch it, for example, in February, like I told you, the video needs to be prepared, the media needs to be announced, so it takes a lot of preparation even before. So even if you don't want to launch it right now, you still need to think about it.
Yeah, I know. I've done a lot of research on the prep, but one of the things I want to do, right, is because of the idea of maybe using Michael Nathan or whatever. So there's two things that are happening in the very immediate term that I think will help with that, getting him convinced to work with us, right? One is on December 15th, there's probably about a 9 to 10 minute section on Al Jazeera Global News that's coming out about us that was filmed. I think it was, when were the Al Jazeera guys here? I think it was in August or September, I can't remember. Late August or early September.
Yeah, in August, I remember. If I remember, it was in August, yes. Even before.
So I contacted them just within this week because I wanted to see if it had come out already. Then I could use that link in the email that I sent to Michael to get him excited to maybe work with us on the new video, right? So they said it's coming out on the 15th of December, and then the link will be available on the 16th. So I want to watch. They said it's a really good piece, but I want to watch that. But the other thing that's been keeping us busy this week, in addition to the juice company stuff, is today, tomorrow, and Monday. I don't know if you've heard of this company called DSM out of the Netherlands. They're a technology promoting kind of company that supports films and things. So there's a film crew here filming us for a movie called, it's basically going to be a film that's a mainstream film about real heroes of science that you've never heard of. So they came here, we're their third visit. They first were in Tanzania. I mean, they've been in touch with me for about 2 months now, 2 or 3 months, but they were in Tanzania filming somebody who did this really innovative mosquito net thing that to help prevent malaria. Then they went to New Zealand to work with somebody who's doing bionic legs. Now they're here with us until the end of Monday to film us for our project. And then they're going to California to film this lady who's using methane gas to make bioplastics. And those are kind of the four, and they're being interwoven into this. It should be a very interesting film. I mean, the people were here at my apartment at 5 p.m., which is why I had to move this call. And there were about 10 of them, all Dutch, you know, with some local type producers and things. They're very detailed, very, I guess, you know, professional. So this will be really interesting, right? And the premise is it's basically like people doing really interesting things in science that you probably never heard of, and it's the point is to try to show both the good and the bad. So they're focusing on our story of like recovering from the flood and all this stuff, and trying to get people interested in supporting scientists. So I think these types of things will have a much broader impact if magnified properly to support us to try to raise money. That's one aspect. The second aspect is the point you made about if we need the money. The other thing I'm trying to explore right now with one of our team members is if we get the contract with the German company, which we'll know in the next couple of weeks, we might be able to leverage that with the Export-Import Bank of Thailand because there's the German juice company is very large and would be a fairly creditworthy off-taker. And if they can sign a one-year agreement or something, then we may be able to get debt to scale up production and then sell that, and then we may not need the crowdsourced funding as critically. So I want to kind of look at those couple of options and then really feel comfortable to kick off the campaign with a lot of buzz before, instead of doing it prematurely. And also we're so busy at the moment that with this stuff going on that I needed another week anyway to focus on it. So.
Okay, fantastic. No, that makes sense, and yeah, it's very interesting. My point, actually, why I wanted to enter into details, it was so if I remember well, you wanted to raise like $50,000. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was the plan. I mean, obviously we could take more than that, but because of the nature of Kickstarter, right? I was concerned about setting a goal that's too high and then not achieving it and not getting any of the funds, right? But I don't know what the right goal is because it all depends on reach, right? I mean, one person gave me some advice with some experience that said your goal should be such that you feel like you can get 30% of that goal within the first 1 or 2 days of the campaign, right? So that way it shows like it will be most likely successful and people will contribute. Otherwise, it may, and so the key is setting that goal at the right level, right? But then I saw that Indiegogo campaign, for the solar roadway guys, and they set it at $1 million and they raised $2 million, which obviously I don't want to be that ambitious, but it just makes me wonder if maybe 50 is a little bit too low. Especially because like the fundamentals of ours is a little bit better than the solar roadways guys, right? I mean, if you watched any of the Thunderfoot videos about solar roadways afterwards, and as an engineer having watched it, I completely understand the point of how the basic, very fundamental science doesn't really actually make a lot of sense for solar roadways. I mean, the energy consumption of the LEDs is way too high compared to what you generate, and material surface quality of glass versus rock that you're driving next to is so low that you break the roads all the time and be too expensive to fix. So just the basic fundamentals have a lot of challenges that will need quite a bit of time to overcome, which is why I think they wanted the R&D money, but it's not a commercially viable product or project at the moment, right? It's a concept. Whereas
how important it was like to have the right video in that case. That's why like we were proposing last time like to contact the same guy who made the video, because many people it was not important the viability of the product, but it was like more the idea that you can possibly get to that, and they really expressed it like in a powerful way. And so like if selling dreams enable people to like gather $2 million, do the same, like.
Actually, usually I'm very skeptical about like crowdfunding, people that want to raise money with crowdfunding, because usually they have a very passive way expecting that it will happen by itself. But I think yours has really chances of success. It all depends on how clever you are to launch it. But the idea would be, if you look at like successful crowdfunding campaigns, people take and give donations also in functions of the reward. And what I wanted to talk with you about is how you think about the reward. So it should start with something very small, from $2 or $5, and it should grow much higher. It can go up to $1,000. So then it makes sense to think about rewards that you could possibly give, because I don't know if you can give, like, I don't know, 20 kilos of pasta or even more in order to arrive to that 1,000. And especially if you want to make something that is like really big with more money, so more than $50,000, then you really have to think very strategical about the rewards that have higher sums. I think with more freaking roadways, you could like donate up to $10,000, and they would give you like one patch of the
Yeah.
uh, uh, roadway. So yeah, if we brainstorm on that, beside like pasta and energy bars, what would be possible, a good reward that would grow higher?
Yeah, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the rewards on the one that I had sent you or I had posted on Babele the link on this one. If you go into the questions on crowdfunding, I have a link to the preview page of our Kickstarter. And if you look at that one, we start at $10, and then we go up to 1,000. But the main one, actually, with the products basis, goes up to 200, and then it just skips all the way up to 1,000. And this is basically inviting people to come tour our facilities in Bangkok, right? So I did a lot of analysis on this actually, and looked at a lot of different projects and talked to several people, and you know, the big ticket items are usually something that very few people will give to unless they are just really supportive of the project, and then they may or may not take the thing at the end, right? But you don't. It doesn't seem like most people offer just a ridiculously large amount of product for that reward. It was usually some niche thing, right? Like a celebrity dinner with a celebrity, or
Exactly.
something like this, right? And so that's what we did for the $1,000 one, and then the rest of them are all product based, and they kind of make sense. Like when I analyzed several Kickstarter projects that people referred me to, you know, you could do some analysis, and I did some in spreadsheets, and you could clearly see, because you know it showed how many people picked each one, and the ones that were bad value selections were the ones that people picked less of, because even intuitively people could sense it, right? So what I mean by that is, one of the ones that the guy who did our video, he had worked on another video for this guy in the U.S. who made cast iron pans, and he made the handle shaped like tree branches and stuff, and this was his passion, right? So it was quite part artistic and part the functionality of the cast iron pans, right? And he had different sets. He had a saucepan, he had a frying pan, blah, 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 right? And then he had sets of multiple pans. He had a pot and all this stuff. But he didn't seem to do a very good job with the math, right? So when you looked at the rewards, let's say the value of a saucepan was $40 and the value of a frying pan was $100, then when he had a combination package, it was maybe, you know, it should have been some discount to get, you know, it shouldn't have been 40 plus 100, right? It should have been something less than 40 plus 100, because 40 and 100 are the two individual reward values. But he screwed that math up in a few different cases. And surprisingly, when you looked at more and more projects, you could see that people didn't think through it enough, and they often screwed up one or two of the boxes, right, when they tried to aggregate packages. And people who are picking the rewards didn't screw that up like the person who organized it, right? So you could see the volume of people who picked that was very small, and the volumes were much higher, which was the best value. So I tailored the rewards in our offerings to drive better value as you went to bigger and bigger packages, right? And doing it, you know, in a way that numerically made sense. So people would choose based on what should be a more uniform distribution, just based on how much they wanted to give, right? They weren't, they didn't have some options that didn't really make any sense. So anyway, I did a whole lot of this type of stuff, right? And tried to look at the values of each individual thing and see what it might be worth to somebody, knowing that they would subsidize a certain product, as well as some of the R&D. Kind of asking people what they would offer or what they would accept as a reward for so much of an offering, things like this. So I would say maybe have a look at the preview page that's
Yeah, I had a look at the preview page, and indeed, the idea of jumping from 200 to 1,000, I'm wondering if that makes sense. If there are not like interesting packages in between, at least something for 500
Yeah,
dollars, and
you could
something
consider.
more bigger than 1,000, like 2,000. And does the so the for the one that you go in Thailand and visit, that price of the plane ticket is not included? How many people
No.
are likely to go and do that? I'm not very sure that the 1,000 one is really attractive. Unless it's like a possible partner who's actually really interested in knowing more about the technology, but then I can offer him something more. Because this guy who wants to discover the technology, actually, he really wants to do something with you. So then maybe if 1,000, I transform it into 10,000, and I buy him also the ticket, and I tell him, you will work with the team for blah, 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 and we will discuss. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is just my idea, my impression.
No. I had this same idea. I originally had like 4 or 5 different levels up there, and in some cases we bought a ticket for one, in some cases we bought a ticket for two. The challenge is you don't know where people are going to come from. Are they going to come from Europe? Are they going to come from the U.S.? And the ticket prices are all over the place, depending upon where they're coming from. And then also, there was the the likelihood when you look at those big reward values on the average Kickstarter campaign, there's maybe 1 to 3 people who take something like that maximum, and usually it's people who know it might be somebody who knows the founder or something like this. I mean, where you get most of your money is in the middle range. People are gonna, the volume of people, like there's 2 philosophies, right? You either hunt for a few people to give you the big donations, or you try to get maximum exposure with like blogs and viral marketing and networking, and you get a whole lot of people to give your most likely values, like 25, 45, 65, etc. We looked at also the multi-$100 packages like you're talking about, and the only way to get there that made sense for food products was you had to do multiple shipments, right? So you had to make it very time-based. Instead of one shipment of a lot of product, you had to start saying, okay, well, I'll ship you something every month or every 3 months or something like that. And we kind of consciously made a decision when I talked to my team that we didn't really want to do that because of the cost of shipping and the logistics challenges and everything. So we preferred to like not have a subscription service type offering, which what some of these things require to do what you're talking about on the 500 level and stuff. I may revisit it, but I don't know. It was
Okay, so let's see it this way. So I think it's a very interesting conversation. So based on that, I understand that you consciously decided that you want to target people that are normal people that are curious about this technology, that are going to make donations between 25 to $200, and you're not going to actually the rest you don't want to focus on it, so you don't want to try.
some of it.
Like I
Yeah.
can understand you. There are two strategies. One is like some few partners who sell more, who give more, and or a lot of them who give a little bit.
Well, and let me tell you why, right? Again, which is what I was mentioning before, is it comes down to us having a food product and the logistics, right? So like the advantage of doing it the way we've done it right now is everybody kind of gets their stuff at the same time, and it's one shipment basically, and it's non-perishable products at a reasonable quantity, which means that we can put it all together if we get a lot. The most likely demographics for who we think would donate at the time we originally were looking at this were Americans, because I didn't know all of you guys in Europe, right? I didn't have a mentoring team from Bavele in Europe, so I didn't think I would get very much penetration in Europe, but maybe just small amounts from friends that I had already. But we have much larger network in the U.S., right? Because I'm American, my girlfriend is American, her family's American, Derek is American on our team. So we figured originally that we would have to ship products all the way to the U.S. and then distribute them. And most of Kickstarter's funding comes from the U.S. as well, right? Most of the funding comes from U.S. people. So looking at that, we said, okay, we don't want to, from Thailand, have to send lots of small shipments over time to Thailand because the shipping to the U.S. because the shipping cost is very high. So we wouldn't actually be able to. We'd either have to charge too much, that there'd be a big value gap. For something that's a tube of pasta, I'd have to charge $15 a tube because $10 of it would go to small shipments, discrete shipments, right? I mean, that's a little bit extreme, but still, I would have to charge a lot more than what a consumer would perceive the value of this thing to be because of the shipping costs, not because they're subsidizing my R&D, which is what I want. So the way to minimize that or mitigate it is to make sure that it's always a very large shipment where I can get economies of scale on the shipping, right? Like I send a whole container and then it works out to be a very small relative amount per quantity shipped, right? And that means I can't discretize it because I can't force everybody to take the $500 option, which means 200 people are getting something every 3 months. The likelihood is I would only have 5 or 10 people who donate $500, right? So it's not worth the trouble or the cost to do that for that small an amount of people to so many different potential places, if that makes sense, right? So it was actually kind of a, we had a reasoning behind not doing it that way. But I'm open to suggestions, right? I mean, I'm completely open to it. But there was a method to the madness, right? There was a lot of thought that went into it already.
No, I completely understand. It makes a lot of sense. My question is like, do you think there are any chances, for example, you were talking about, yeah, I don't want any small juice producer or smoothie producers because this would cost me too much. I don't know, like if a small juicy producer of one bar in Berlin sees your Kickstarter campaign and he would like to do something out of it. Yeah, he could contact you directly. But I am just thinking, like, aren't there something that could be, that is too small for you to attack them one by one and call them and all that stuff, and you could leverage on the Kickstarter campaign? Maybe it's a stupid idea. It's just one of the ideas that
no, it's not. It's not stupid. We had, the way we thought about it is like, okay, so let's say the Kickstarter campaign is a great way to get exposure, and let's use your example of a small single shop or two shop juice bar in Berlin seeing us and wanting some of our product and asking for it, and let's say we offered a frozen product that they could use in their juice bar, so they get some from us, right? And then they decide they want to be a recurring customer. The economics for them on a recurring basis wouldn't make sense because of the shipping cost, right, for such a small quantity. So the only way for that to work is we have to be exposed enough that there are, between retail consumers and this small juice bar, etc., there are maybe, an entire container load of individual frozen spirulina packages going to Berlin, for example, right? Or going to Germany in general, and we have to make a contact with the distributor who could then pick it up at a port from us, and they make their margin, and then they distribute it to all the different places, because we don't have that logistics network set up yet, right? And the challenge for us is, one, on the consumer retail side, for that small owner, do the economics make sense from our price with the shipping cost, which should be okay in bulk, but not on an individual basis, and the distribution cost from the distributor in Europe to get to that person, and then he still be able to mark it up and sell it retail to the end consumer. And that's what we've been focusing on, right? Trying to find products where we could satisfy that whole equation, that every piece in the value chain makes economic sense, right? The second challenge is what I mentioned already. We don't have the distributor lined up, right? We don't know any distributors in each market, right? and trying to find that distributor is something we still need to work on. So we kind of deprioritized it a bit, right? Especially when we started to get leads with larger potential off-takers, like the juice bars that you sent us the links for that are much larger juice bars. The thought process is not only are they larger, meaning they would buy a lot more, but they're also larger, meaning they have their own distribution network, because they have to get the fruits to all the different places, and they have to get so many other things. So they would have a centralized warehouse where we could send a large quantity to, and they would piggyback on their existing distribution network to disseminate it to all of their shops, right? Which is much better for us where we are right now than having to find a distributor who would mark it up, right? So it was just a prioritization issue, right? I mean, if we didn't have any other options, we would do exactly what you're talking about and try to find the solution. But because we now have some other options, we're deprioritizing it a bit.
Okay, no, that's great. One other idea, what about like proposing advertisements? I don't know, like 5,000 euros, something that will appear like you're a partner, and the next X products that we will produce, they will contain you as a partner or something like that. Another idea.
You mean in the reward? So have like a $5,000 reward that was tied to they would get to advertise on our packaging. Is that what you mean? Or we would co-develop a product with them? That's a really good idea, actually. I could put something like that. I didn't know what the demographic was of Kickstarter donors. I didn't think it was other businesses mostly. I thought it was a lot more individual consumers or individual people. You know, people who were kind of interested in certain causes or what have you. I mean, if there are a lot of businesses who do look on Kickstarter, then I would think that would be something quite interesting. But if it's mostly individuals, then I don't know if that will end up. I mean, it's easy to have that reward because it doesn't really cost us anything if nobody takes it, right? But I just don't know if we'll actually see any activity on that reward or not. But that's a good idea. I would put it on there. Sure, I can include something like that.
It's just like brainstorming. I'm like giving ideas on that. And I had another idea, but yeah, sorry. I got, maybe you wanted to say something?
Well, I don't know, like when you said about advertisement, I imagined people like actually getting their face on it, you know?
No, come on.
Packaging, you know? Then you give it to your friends, you know, like, hey,
it can be a possibility.
You know, what you made me think about, though, when you said the word advertisement, was something completely different, which might be interesting, which is, you know, when working with this disco soup idea.
Yeah, exactly, something around that, yeah.
If we leverage that to drive people to the Kickstarter campaign, then that would probably help spread the word a lot more, right?
But then you need to have your Kickstarter campaign planified. So maybe if the first disco soup makes sense and it's a success, then you can planify a second disco soup in January or February just before your crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
And
I mean, believe me, in some respects, I would like to launch it sooner because I understand from multiple sources that December is the time that people tend to give the most. So this would be the right time of year to launch it, in a way. And January and stuff, things kind of taper off for a while because people have spent a lot of their money over Christmas, and so they don't. January tends to be one of the least giving months for things like this. But so when I make this decision, it's not lightly, because what I mean by that is, if I don't launch it by December, then I will probably defer it by not 1 month or 2 months, but probably 4 or 5 months, or at least 3 or 4 months, because I want to get away from the January low point and build up a lot of inertia and then launch it in March or April, something like this, right? But I'm kind of wrestling with it still, trying to think about what's the best way to accomplish this.
I have a last idea. I know, like, it might sound maybe banal, but like, even the solar roadways at some point, they were giving T-shirts. And if I would send a T-shirt about spirulina, it would be like to explain You know, like in your paragraph about the value proposition, that like there are the bars about how spirulina is like more amazing than any other kind of food combined. Like, for example, before like getting to know your project, I had no idea. I had no idea about what spirulina was. I had no idea about like what kind of impact it had. And if you could just make an advertisement and just put in advance like how spirulina like is cool for people that probably like go to the gym and like can just start showing it around, might simply create a little bit of awareness about something that not everybody really knows or understand how you maybe might expect.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the T-shirt idea, and it's very inexpensive to make T-shirts here. So we had tossed around ideas like that, which were non-food related goods, and still, like, I don't think it's a bad idea. I just don't know. I don't know how to incorporate it well. Like, in other words, because you're just adding another product into your list of rewards.
Yeah.
And I think people want to focus on the rewards that actually have spirulina in it. So do you do it for only a $10 reward? Because it's going to cost you a few, maybe $1 or $2 to make a lot of T-shirts. Do you put it in with everything just because it's free advertising and hope that it justifies a little bit more in people's minds to get something? Or do you only include it
for $10? I would do it for $50.
$40, like to start, like just the T-shirt, honestly. Like people are not buying these products like at market price. Like they're doing somehow a donation, like to help you achieving all the things you've described in the crowdfunding campaign. So like it shouldn't be a fair price. It could even like be more expensive because like you need to have a margin like that. Then it's gonna be used for all the magic of spirulina, right?
Actually, we donated $25 for the Solar Freaking World Race, and we just got 3 stickers. So,
But that's the thing. Like $25 is in most people's minds. That's just, I don't expect really anything if I like the cause. If I get something, it's a plus. But that's why $25 is the most common amount given, because it's what people can afford, right? The key is how do you get more than $25 from somebody? Or if you only get $25, then you need 2,000 people to give you $25 just to get to $50,000, right? In total. So you need to reach a lot of people. Most campaigns do not average 2,000 donors, right? They average donors in the numbers of hundreds, right? So it's an interesting balancing art. You have to have a reward that's attractive enough that people will actually want to go for the bigger amounts than $25. I mean, the distribution is quite interesting. Maybe the thing to do is I can send you guys by email a lot of the stuff that I've looked at in terms of...
Yeah. But I think like the food, the actual product, I would put it higher than $25 because if I have like if I get the T-shirt, okay, if you say it's really cheap, I can get the T-shirt for 25, and then for 50 I get more products, and then you can go up to 200. But
I see.
If I really like the spirulina and I'm curious like this, you really make me give the 50 instead of giving just the 25, because the 25 I just get a T-shirt while I'm not picking your product yet.
Yeah, and plus, like, I would also add one thing right now that I'm looking at all the things. Like, I would add a recipe, like on how to cook spirulina, Like, there has to be something that is, like, only not dependent on, like how much, the more you spend, and then, like, the more spirulina you get, Like, it sounds like you're buying at Metro. No, it should be like a more dependent, like add something that is like around spirulina. I understand like you want to put the product in front, but to a person to whom like you're sending a lot of products, give him also something that I don't know, like might help him like either to understand how to prepare spirulina, or I don't know if there is a special blender that you guys have ever invented like that can help people preparing spirulina like in a certain way,
And like this, you can get to the $1,000 reward where you do it with a specialist food.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like it's like the chef, the chef package or something like that.
Where you cook with dinner with spirulina with a chef that is I don't know what.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, like, so that's the reason why, to be honest, I wouldn't be in a hurry to just launch the crowdfunding campaign until you got all this right, until you got
Yeah,
the communication right, until you got like all the kind of rewards right. Because right now, like, I look at the rewards, it's like a quadruple.
No, but it's good. I think you've done a lot of research, and you
Yeah,
really
it's
see
good.
that it's justified, and it's like really impressive.
No, but you know, like, but there is still something that can be improved, and you know, like, you don't. It's an important thing. It's gonna take a lot of effort to do a crowdfunding campaign. So, like, you want to get there, like, as ready as possible.
Yeah, but it's true that the idea of recipes can be good, and I was thinking about, because you know spirulina, usually you take it as a cure, like you should take it like 6 or 10 grams per days, and after 1 or 2 months you can see really the effect of the spirulina. So I was thinking maybe try to make a kind of packaging, like we give them some spirulina in recipe book or something like that, a program like let's say a diet program for 1 or 2 months. Like that, you can see the differences after the 2 months, and then maybe we can, I don't know, we can just earn a client like that, or I don't know, but it's true that the recipe stuff, it can be really a good idea.
Yeah, because you know, like, you want to associate, like, the more the quantity, the more you need to give like ideas or tools
Yeah,
to the people on how actually they're gonna be making use of these. You know.
yeah,
Uh,
but
and
after
like,
I don't know at what price we can try to reward that, like
I
I don't
don't
know, five.
but
uh,
check already how much it would cost to make the book. You know, like, to have a decent.
No, not yeah. It's true that to
I
make
don't
the
know
books,
how
but
big the book is.
so complicated.
You said you already have 2 or 3 recipes or that you recommend, so I wouldn't make it like super hard. Like if you have 10 recipes, it's enough, and then you can make a small booklet. But
Yeah, sure. No, but there is a
you
lot of
don't
things.
have to be super. If I like,
Yeah, exactly. It does not. It does not need to be 100 pages. You know, honestly. But you know, like a good, nice book which explain how to do like 10, 15 recipes, and that's cool. Awesome. You know, like, that's doable. Plus, I don't know. Like, is there any particular kitchen tool that you use for cooking spirulina?
No, in general.
Not in general. We need to invent one.
No,
Yeah.
but for example,
a jar in which you would hold the spirulina, or if it's frozen, a thing where you put it inside that you can give. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, like, you can think of crazy things that go together, like, for better conservation of spirulina. You know, like, as you were saying, it could be a jar, or I don't know
But
what else. But yeah, like, we already
no,
came.
but even because we have also some pasta and we are developing some energy bar, so you can make kind of really good meal during all the day about the kind of spirulina diet. There will see differences. And I think this can be a good option to make a kind of program, that spirulina program like that. But I don't know really at what price we can sell that. If I can say sell on the crowdfunding, like I don't know at what price we can put that on the crowdfunding. It's really a good
Hmm.
idea. You know what I mean? I mean, it can be another option to have another reward in the crowdfunding.
yeah.
The, but we have to think about it. It's just an idea like that, but we have to go deeper in the details to see if we can do that or not.
Yeah, and Somil is going to make all the calculations.
Can I ask you one thing? Can you make toothpaste with spirulina?
You know, I don't know. We haven't looked into it. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, because you know, like, It could be interesting, like to see whether it somehow benefits the gums, you know, like a new spirulina thing.
Yeah,
You know, like
Manu, you're too marketing right now. I am afraid of you. I think because because you're not thinking about, it's good because it has proteins inside, not because you have it in your
no,
mouth
no,
and you
I got it,
spit it.
I got it, I got
Or
it.
you make like
That was just a question, you know,
you
like
make
it's
a
fun.
toothpaste that you eat it afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, and that's I think.
It's not spoken, no. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's okay.
The thing that along those lines is the beauty masks and the cosmetic products, really more than toothpaste. But we came across a product at a farmer's market recently that somebody else is offering, which is a packet, and you mix it in some cream, and then it makes a lotion that you put on your face. And the packet has like dried spirulina and maybe a couple of other things in it. So that's easy to do something or replicate, and then have it as a reward to ship out. If we wanted to go away from pure food products into something that was also kind of you know uh,
Yeah, like related to cosmetics and beauty. Yeah, why not? It could be
I don't
interesting.
know. My answer to this is that you have always to stick to your vision, and I think, Somil, you have a very clear vision on why you are doing this, and if I understood well, it's to take like spirulina from the pharmaceutical in order to introduce it into food. So I think putting it into cosmetics, it's nice, but it's not your vision, and I would focus on your vision and do things around that. And I don't think it's necessary to propose on Kickstarter just another cosmetics.
If it's not your core, like you can avoid it. You can already do many things around the food thing.
Yes, exactly.
right.
My final, so I would finish here on the brainstorming on the crowdfunding. I hope it was useful. And yeah, I'm going to tell them to the mentors as well, because I actually before this call I didn't see the link. Sorry for that, to the Kickstarter campaign. And maybe many of the mentors didn't see it either. Maybe they can brainstorm as well. My other question is, if you send like the package to Jeremy for the disco soup, um, give him an objective as well. So like to make a challenge with photos of people drinking smoothies or taking each other or something more.
Yeah,
that
creating advertisement material.
that you can get out of it, because you're offering them the product. Okay, he's organizing the thing for you, but you never know what's the outcome. So if you don't put an objective on it, then you cannot see if it was useful or not. It's an
Okay.
investment, however. So yeah, it would be cool, like for people to take each other in pictures and post
Or
them
video.
on Facebook, and the one that gets the most likes then will receive another package from you or something like that. But yeah, or invents like words about around spirulina, like short things. Never thought eating algae would be so fun, or I don't know what, But yeah, the idea would be if they do an event, benefit from the crowd and the energy that comes out of it for you as well.
Yeah, get the craziest faces, like when they try spirulina for the first time, you know.
Or make a wish, or yeah. Here you can get as much marketing as you want.
Yeah, but Rux is right. You cannot just send it like that and hope like this that is gonna be enough to create awareness.
Yeah, this is good. I didn't think about this. Maybe should I put a question up on Babele about what's the right way to, what objectives should one have from an event like this or something, and get a lot of ideas, or what do you think?
Yes, it's a good idea.
I wouldn't put another question, but follow up on the question that was already on the open innovation.
Yeah,
Right.
it makes sense. Like you can create a new post right now. Like how many people do you got following you actually in your cover? Why doesn't work?
I don't know. It's probably a bug.
You got no,
Sorry.
wait, not here. Brooks.
Yeah. So.
You got 16 followers. Hmm. Yeah, like it would be cool to get you more people like as followers, because 16 it's like a really little, and I believe there were more people like following up the project, no?
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, and so my next question is like as a conclusion, because like the crowd mentoring program was taught as 1 month and 4 calls, and now also this is the last one. But like as we discussed, so mean actually it makes sense to continue, but maybe at a lower pace.
Yeah, every month, like we do connect, and then like we continue over Babel, and then if there is anything, like we have 1,000 ways to talk to each other, definitely. But
So yeah, I think my suggestion would be use a meal when you take your decision with the German company, like after 2 or 3 weeks when it will happen. Just let us know how you advanced, what happened, and then in function of that, we planify another session based on the decision. Are you launching the crowdfunding campaign? Okay, we're re-talking about that. Now, are you doing something with that German producer? Okay, what can be done next? And yeah, in function of that, but once you have like advanced with the milestone for that.
Yeah, sounds good. Tentatively in maybe 3 weeks or so time, plus or minus a week. 3 weeks to 1 month, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, great. And yeah, my last question is, yeah, I'm going to stop the broadcast, I think, or should I?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, like this is not too long for the people that didn't participate.
So already thank you for the people that participate.
Yeah.
Thank you.